Now, so let's talk a little bit about what it is that you do here. We were just chatting briefly before we went live here, and you were saying that you've been a sales executive for 35 years, and now you're following a trend that seems to be pretty prevalent in that you're turned into a fractional sales executive, sort of sales executive for hire, right?
That's correct. And yeah, I'm either outsourced VP of Sales or a fractional sales executive. And basically, it's just delivering all of the value and experience and the elements that a full-time VP can be hired, a VP of Sales. And it's basically done all at a fraction of the cost. I do the work, and I typically have about maybe 2 or 3 customers when I do the full fractional VP job. And yes, it's very rewarding, and I like it a lot.
Okay. I think Matt's with us now. Are you unmuted?
Yes, I am. I believe so. I'm
Okay.
still getting settled in, though, so proceed, please.
All right. So let's talk about outsourced the fact that you're fractional sales. I understand the concept, and you just sort of explained the concept, but it really is fractional just about everything these days. And it's really to help a company keep costs down. You don't have to hire a person. You just use them as needed. I mean, it's like the concept from movie production companies. They do the same thing, when they're out there. I mean, that's been pretty prevalent on Hollywood for a long time, but now it's becoming more mainstream in the business community, right?
That's exactly it. And I've been doing this now for about 3 years. I'm affiliated with a group called Sales Acceleration. There's 180 advisors, such as myself, that are all spread out throughout the nation, US and Canada. And I think what really got me on board with them was their business model. Like I said, 180 advisors, all with a minimum of 25 years executive sales experience. And we basically have 6 different engagements that are continuously getting fine-tuned by everybody's best practices. So it's a great business model. We've serviced about 4,000 customers during the time it's been in existence, and 98% of them have all shown a positive return in the first year, and the average return is about 32%. So it looked like a proven model to me, and that's why I hopped on board.
Okay, Matt.
All right, so talk about your background just a little bit and what led you to, to try to, achieve sales success in this way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was with General Motors 21 years in various capacities over that time frame, like out in the field organization, giving dealers their cars, went into brand management for about 5 years, running marketing on just different vehicle lines. And then I finished up my tenure at General Motors with OnStar. I was helping launch the XM satellite radio team at OnStar. From there, I went to Sirius XM out of New York, and I ran their automotive sales, marketing, and operations. And basically, I wanted to always go off on my own, and I got approached by this group, Sales Acceleration. I just mentioned the business model, and it just kind of got me on board. It really looked like it was something that I could help small to medium-sized businesses, and it's something that really works, and I enjoy it.
So, in terms of compensation plans, I see from the notes I have in front of me that you want to talk about how can you tell the most effective way to compensate sales leaders and salespeople. That is a tricky thing because we deal with that as well with my business partner, Dan Keelan, because we have various entities and people that want to work with us in sales, but we don't want to hire them per se. We want to use them, like you say, as a fractional salesperson.
Yeah, exactly. So I advise my small to medium-sized businesses, the owners, on a compensation plan that is derived from basically the data from these 4,000 customers and 180 advisors. And the best mix that we have seen to attract top talent and to keep the salespeople motivated is going to be about a 50% of the overall on-target earnings will be base salary. And then the other 50% will be variable compensation, which is made up of commissions and bonuses. And of all the businesses out there, about 20% utilize this mix. And it is by far, from what we see, the best mix out there to get the results you want. And most companies, like over 50%, or I guess 55% to be exact, are paying either a high all base salary or a very high percentage of base salary. And that really doesn't, a lot of salespeople get complacent, quite honestly, and they really don't feel the urge to try to hit those quotas. So yeah, that's the best mix out there, is about 50-50.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So let me ask, for instance, in our case, and I've talked to a number of other people, I have other business partners, they prefer to do more of a higher percentage of sales, for instance, 20 or 25% of the sales. Because I too have discovered that when you do pay a base salary over the years, that people, like you say, well, I'm going to make 1,000 or 2,000 a month or whatever the number is, and they lack the motivation to go out and hustle. And if you come from the entrepreneurial world that we both are in, it's like you eat what you kill. And so that's kind of the way we look at it. Is that any kind of an effective strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, salespeople, I mean, it's no surprise that they just get motivated on how they get paid. And if you did too low of I mean, the opposite side is going to be like all commission or mostly commission only. And those, you're not going to attract the talent. And in a cyclical world that we live in, there's ebbs and flows. And if it's all commission and you just hit a kind of a downward portion of the year, it really makes it difficult to live on that. But then if you have them at that 50-50 mix, they really are in a position to live a good quality of life with, part of the salary coming in, but to be motivated to really go out and, to your point, get that kill. And it's something that really works.
All right, so talk a little bit about the industries that you're working for as a sort of virtual sales VP or virtual sales manager.
Yeah.
Is there any particular industry that's better suited to this approach than others?
No, not really. As I've said in the past, I develop sales process. I build sales infrastructure to small businesses, and it's a process. It's just that I do have a lot of tech-related type companies that I have had experience with clients in the past, but it's a process that I'm implementing that can be applied to just about all industries. I believe we've quantified that we've contacted, and this is really chopping industries down into subunits, but about 130 different industries that Sales Acceleration has worked with. When I go into a new business, I become a student of the product. I really get to know the industry well, but I don't have to be an expert by any means in the product to implement the sales infrastructure that I pull together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, I wanted to ask, what are the most popular services that you offer your clients?
Yeah, I have one it's a 3 to 4 month engagement. That's probably the most popular. It's called the Sales Infrastructure Program, and that is where I'll build a customized sales process, 3-year sales projection. I'll do sales quotas for salespeople, compensation plans as we discussed, pipeline management, implement CRM systems, and then I do hire and build sales teams. So that will take, if it's hiring, that'll take about 4 months. And then in a lot of cases, this will turn into a sales management program, which is the other popular one, where I basically take over the sales organization and spend a lot of time trying to hire the right person. And from there, I just bring them up to speed on all the infrastructure I pulled together, make sure they're good to go before I exit the company.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what the entry and exit is like. Do you take over existing sales teams, or do you bring in all new ones? And what's your exit like?
Yeah, it is. It can be a mix of both. A lot of my businesses, the owner, and this happens a lot, the owner of the business is the highest sales revenue generator.
Right.
And so I'll help them build a team to, surround the owner with really good quality people. Sometimes I'll take over an existing team, coach them up the best I can. And but it's a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. I will go in and if I do have to make changes, I'm joined at the hip with the owner, and we make the decision together. But for the most part, it's just about every different scenario. And what I prefer then is to hire a sales leader, like I was mentioning earlier, to just get them up to speed and acclimated. And then the exit is pretty smooth because they know what they're doing. And I do have clients that will call me, have me come in a little bit later for like a fine tuning, if you will. But overall, it's I spend a lot of good quality time and then I leave, and it's usually for the better.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that you also work, because Matt and I are in the tech world. So I imagine you work with tech companies. Yes.
Yeah, I've worked with quite a few SaaS customers. I've actually got a couple now, an autonomous company out of Atlanta that I'm working with that provides software. And it's and being in the Michigan area, I do get exposed a lot to a lot of the great services that are out there that are pulling, EVs, autonomous, and everything automotive that I think is exciting about the Michigan area.
So does your company have people in other parts of the country as well, or how does that work?
Yeah, so I've got my own LLC called Strategic Sales Solutions. The company, the Sales Acceleration, we do have 180 advisors that are all throughout the U.S. and Canada, and just spread all throughout the country. Yeah.
Okay. And so you've been doing this for a while, and it sounds like it's being pretty well received then, right?
Yeah, it really has. I get all my business based off of referral. And so there's no outside marketing, and it's just building up a referral network, as I was mentioning to you before the show, that if I see that there's an area, say finance, that's beyond my subject matter expertise, I'll just bring somebody else in, refer the business to them. And that's just kind of how us fractional guys operate, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your experience with Sirius, I would imagine, helped you a lot in the tech world. That was kind of a brand new thing, a brand new product, right? When you first started selling it?
It was. When I was at General Motors rolling out the XM satellite radio team, we sold all the brand teams on putting it in their cars before the satellites even went up. So yes, this is brand new. And when I went to Sirius before the merger of Sirius and XM, they were just pulling together their automotive program. And had a lot of really good engineers working with all the automotive OEMs. And I learned a lot in that space, even though I was a sales guy.
Yeah, manufacturing. That's my background too, in tech and whatnot. So if folks want to connect with you, I'm sure, I've seen your website. So why don't you talk a little bit about that, or email address, phone number, however you want them to reach you?
Yeah, I have a website that does have all my contact information. As I mentioned, my business name is Strategic Sales Solutions. The website's it's just s3selling.com.